Hey babes, are you okay? Are you alright, darling? I thought it would be really fun if I did a little video celebrating 3 months of September being... I don't even know what accent that is anymore. I apologize if you're from the UK. I swear I love all of your accents. I just really suck at doing any dialect. To celebrate a very awesome 3 months of September being released on all streaming platforms, I thought it would be fun if I did a little video with all of the my favorite sounds of this entire album that I wanted to share with you. Share means expensive in French, so there we go. And rather than going in order of the track list of what is on the actual album, I thought it would be interesting if during this video it was a timeline for me from the idea that I wanted to create an album to the actual release date and that timeline and what songs were created in there. And throughout this video sharing behind the scenes in terms of certain sounds that were created and vocal stems and how things came about and where those ideas came from. So amazing! Here we go! Obviously the first song that was written, released, and produced was the title song of the album, September, which was going to be Prince Charming, so I'm glad I didn't do that one. I really like the idea of September. Going through a couple of these stems that are my favorite is obviously the intro has this vocal swell. I have not pulled up this session in such a long time and oh wow, I'm just having an absolute blast. Right in there in that intro, there's obviously a few things happening in there. We have this little September air part that comes in and out. Here comes again. There we go. Awesome. Along with that, we have a little whoa, 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 that you just process and filter like hell. You know, it's very filtered in the beginning, and then obviously with the September air, it sounds like this. Right, perfect. And then obviously my favorite part of this intro, and throughout this entire song, and one of my favorite vocal parts of the entire album, is this swell group. There's like 4 or 5 vocal parts in it. It's just my voice that is sidechained to a bus that makes it pulse. That is one of my favorite parts of the entire song. Oh, that's a very dirty motion. Anyway, and I also love these. Incredible. A lot of times people will ask me how I create the music and the lyrics. I do the music and the lyrics for all the things I do, and this is how I create the music. This is how lyrics are created. Amazing. And then the next morning I go through and I'm kind of fix it when I have a clear mind. This just allows me to be very honest and open and authentic without having your self-judgment filter for when you're writing songs. Another one of my favorites of September is the strings that come in verse 2. Oh. It really drives the tempo going. And then they kind of... I really quite enjoy that part of it. This is verse 2, in case you're lost. Checking all my boxes. Your voice tingles my heart. This is the chorus, but without the lead vocals going on, and the percussion. It just sounds with the piano, and the keyboards and strings. This one sounds so orchestral to me, and it's exactly how I imagined it to be. The vocals in the bridge are so much fun. You're my best friend. So cute. You're my best friend, you're so cute. Kiss me, press your stubby face on mine. Baby steps through, my body's bubbling. Why did God pull me to you? Moving right along to Ruin Our Friendship, that was the next one that was written. I wrote this while I was in school. It was awful. There were many, many drafts to it. I finished it while I was in LA. And then while I was on the road, on tour, it still felt like there was so much missing, and I couldn't figure out what exactly it needed. This ooh section in Ruin Our Friendship, that happens right here. I was on FaceTime with my good friend Sarah Bailey, and I was saying something is missing, and I think I need to put an ooh section here, but I don't know what it's going to be, and she just happened to be in her little studio. So she pulled out her microphone and did this for me. And I said, ooh, ooh. Sometimes in music you really want the background vocals to shine, especially when there's a really strong presence of a lead vocal line. Not only do you record those background vocals, but you have another artist also double what you're doing so that that can have a strong presence. Because just having a different set of vocal cords on something, because our voices are so unique and so amazing, that having a different set of vocal cords on it will allow that to have a really strong presence. And so I kept Sarah's little oohs messing around with me on FaceTime on a bus in probably Massachusetts. I kept that in the session. This is what it sounds like, just my voice. But by having SMB do that, it sounded like this. In the end, this is just the oohs with my voice doing the lead, Sarah's voice also doing the lead, and then we split during the lead. I go up and then she stays at the melody line, and then all of those oohs in the background that are my voice. And then mixed with an ad-lib in there that goes really high and wide, and I think singing a B natural would be okay, and I did, but... Right. That is so fun. Oh, but let's put it with the arps, Drew. Why didn't you do it with the arps? Oh, okay, anyway. Moving on to number 1, which is one of my favorite songs on this entire album. I'm skipping Rinse and Repeat. There's not much to say. I had that hook forever. I was in New York. I wanted to write the vocal loop I had for so long. And I knew that there was going to be something into it, and it felt like an interlude. Rinse and Repeat. That story is kind of it is the foundation of the theme of this album. This sort of theme of circling back to what's not good for you, this whole idea of every September this happens, how time repeats itself. I mean, you hear it, okay, we'll just go into the theme right now. And specifically number 1, we know that right away the theme of this album of going back to what's not good for you and what is hurting you, but your heart just has no way to say no, is we learn from it right in number 1 at the outro of this song. I have the session pulled up right here, jumping from my lifeboat back onto the sinking Titanic. That obviously is a metaphor to one of my favorite movies of all time, Titanic. Rose, she gets on a lifeboat and she's going down, jumping, and she jumps back onto the sinking Titanic, and the metaphor of the Titanic being love, if you will, whatever. The whole idea is, from my lifeboat on this sinking ship, I'm jumping from my lifeboat back onto it because this person, I was vibing in my own lane and he came in and we're vibing, and and now he's taking me away, and I'm letting him. You know, that whole idea of I was safe, and now I'm jumping back onto this, against the odds that maybe this time I'm not gonna survive. Just to feel like, am I a person? Am I alive? Am I a breathing human being? Risking that hurt, risking all of that. I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyway, moving on into the actual parts of the sounds of this song rather than the story. We can get into story later. I will gladly tell anybody stories of anything that they want to know. This is the second verse. I love this one right here. I think there's about 4 or 5 parts right there. They're just grooving to me. Okay, enough with that part. I absolutely love it. You get it. The first track of the album was going to be an overture that was playing melodies of all of the songs together, sort of like a musical theater album. But this one felt like such an introduction to me, and it felt like such an overture anyway. And so I feel like it just very much so opens the floodgates of what this story is going to be for this album such very clearly, and I absolutely love that it does it in such a vibrant way, with so many vocal instruments, and obviously my voice is just used in so many like random just noises that have since been mixed in and just thrown in there, and so it felt like it was a great introductory piece to this entire album of stories. Then going into Dancing Alone, which I feel like the vision for me at first was it being in a club, hence the line, the lyric, in a room full of strangers, put a name to my face. Because I feel like I'm dreaming, and then you just touched me and I didn't wake up, you're still there. I will tell you that in Dancing Alone there are 3 kick drums. There's also one that goes, and then my favorite kick drum comes in verse 2 and Sarah's vocals come in, and this is the kick drum. Oh. You hear that bass? It's so nasty. It's so distorted and Another one of my favorite percussive parts of Dancing Alone occurs in the bridge. Here's the percussion. You can hear claps. You can hear wine glass. You can hear a lot of snapping and like a... This is just the clap loop. It happens in the bridge and then it's elevated in the final chorus. This is just me going... And then I just edited the crap out of it. I really love this song a lot. Talking about the main vocal loops that happen within the song, we're just gonna stick to the final chorus throughout this song. We have this, obviously this main loop that goes throughout the entire song. We have this other loop that comes in. There's those 2 together. And then the third one that comes in goes, here, you can just hear it. So with the other 2, it sounds like this. And it makes one instrument. Absolutely. We have some choirs that come in. There's a choir pad. And with these keys. This is all we know of all I've explained. What are these ARPs here? What is this? Wow. That's really cool. I forgot I did that. Oh, that's really interesting. Anyway, here's the bridge with my background vocals with Sarah Michelle's leading vocals. So here's her voice with my background vocals in her verse. Awesome, and then the final song of the album, which is last actually on the track list and last that I wrote, is Hey Stranger. So I had 6 songs for an entire album, and I wanted a 7th. And I was listening to the entire album, and the whole idea of, I was like, wow, I never learned how to run away. I was trapped like a prey, and I was like, so then I just kept going with that idea, like, never learn to run away, trapped like prey, hit replay, rinse and repeat. This song breaks that cycle of the theme of going back and rinsing and repeating like every September and back on the sinking Titanic. It breaks all of that because in the second verse, after it goes, hey stranger, hey best friend, instead of learning to run away, it's, I never knew I could let go. How I have grown from that into this man I now know, which will always just make me so emotional every single time I listen to that part. And even with a melody that's the same, no, the mindset is different. And so that is really special to me. And I kind of created this little vocal loop, if you will. All these little bits. And so I just started kind of messing around with it. I added a bunch of other elements to it. There was obviously a choir pad that I really liked. I added these pizzicato strings. This right here, you can hear in Ruin Our Friendship actually. And it's actually being used in future projects. Little fun fact about Hey Stranger, the little dog bark and the siren that takes place right at the beginning, which to me really puts a very specific image that just sets up it being nighttime for this song. This dog bark, fun fact, is my dog. It's just a beautiful sound to me. I could just listen to it forever, and I do listen to it quite a bit. And this is what I recorded to. And I barely had a scrap vocal to it. I just had some words on a note page and just like some now I'm found and that I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. So when the recording session of this happened, I was actually leaving New York in a few days to move to Paris, France, and I had this song and I needed to get it recorded. I just had that little bit that you heard. That's all I had, but without the background vocals, I didn't really know what else to do with it. And so I texted a friend and it said, hey, I have something that is stuck in my head. I don't have really a melody line. I have a note page with just random thoughts. And I don't really know what to do, but I want to record. And he said, come in tomorrow. So I went in the next day, we recorded it, and then a few days later, I moved to France. And so that recording session was just so beautiful because I went in, normally I go in and I know exactly what I'm doing. I know all lead vocal lines, background vocals, everything. But this one I really went in not knowing really what I was going to do. And so I just was sitting in the booth, I breathed and teared up a little, and this song was born. And so a lot of the vocals are not aligned with the beats. Sometimes they're really kind of off and they're kind of a few little bit late or too early. And it's very raw and authentic, and I left it that way. And it kind of reminds me of the session and how it was, and it just was so raw. And so it didn't need to be perfect, it just needed to be what it was. And I will forever go into every other session and every other song with that mindset. And now specifically talking about the very end, because you would think, hey, stranger, best friend, Romeo, Prince Charming, back to stranger. No. Why do queer stories have to end heartbroken? I don't want mine to be heartbroken. Why can't it end happily? And so at the very end, at this part here, you're my best friend, you're so cute. Kiss me, press your stubby face on mine. That melody repeats from September to wrap up the story. To me, that ends very happily. It's just a beautiful conclusion to this entire repertoire of songs and to this whole era of life, having Hey Stranger being last just fit. It felt authentic to what I was experiencing then, and wrapping up kind of a past and kind of a little past life, a little bit of present, and now let's move on to more music. That's pretty much all I have to say. This was very chaotic. If you enjoyed it, great. If you made it to the end and you didn't enjoy it, I understand. We'll forever listen to all these 7 songs. They have so much of my heart. Thank you for listening. I hate the word stream. I don't like saying thank you for streaming, because to me stream makes you listening to what I have to say and what I spent so long creating with my heart and my soul. It makes it a number thing, and I don't really care about that. So if you listened to it and you took it in and you gave me feedback, you have no idea how much that means to me. So that's it.